Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel MTN Possibilities, your favorite spot for everything that happens here in Bulawayo. We talk about homesteading, Zimbabwean culture, and of course my job as a sign language interpreter. Remember, in the last video I promised to share with you why I was in Harare. Well, the wait is over. Join me for this unforgettable garden party where I had the pleasure of being the sign language interpreter. So here I'm arriving at the event. The garden was so beautiful. I couldn't resist taking some pictures just before things got busy. So when the event started off, it was beautiful as the drummers and pipers from St. John College brought in the ambassador. The performance set such an energetic tone as Ambassador Peter Voles and Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheila Chidzonga made their grand entrance. Seeing them arrive was such a highlight. So now, why was I in Harare? Like I said, this was my big event as a sign language interpreter, and I was so impressed at seeing how the ambassador could speak Shona and Ndebele quite impressively.
And now, allow me to introduce your host for the evening, His Majesty's Ambassador to the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Pete Voles.
Salabanani? Njani? Maswarase? Good afternoon. A bit of audience participation first. Well, hang on, let me first. May I start by thanking the Honourable Deputy Minister for joining us. And let me extend the warmest of welcomes to everyone who's come here today to celebrate with us. So, a bit of audience participation. Can you, at the back, can you hear me? Wonderful. Can I have your attention for the next 15 or 20 minutes for the two speeches? And then feel free to go and explore the bars and the food. Over on this side, if you haven't already found it, you've got the gin and tonics, the Pims. Pims does have alcohol in it, by the way. And over this side, you've got the draft beers and the more kind of pubby feel, and food on both sides. More summery this side, more kind of pub like that side. There's ice cream, because remember, the British, as soon as the sun comes out, we like to eat ice cream.
He started off by thanking those who loaned him with a stunning 1963 Rolls Royce for the day. You can see me here taking pictures with the Rolls Royce, and almost everyone at the event was just doing the same. It looked amazing.
My first job is to thank each and every one of you for all you do for the UK and for Zimbabwe, this beautiful country that we are so lucky to live in at this time. Given the sheer number of partnerships that make up the UK-Zimbabwe relationship, it's impossible to thank everyone, but let me highlight a few. Our honourable friends in the government of Zimbabwe, thank you also. Special thanks to Mike O'Leary for the very kind loan of the Rolls Royce Silver Cloud 2 that you saw of 1963. Sadly, it's only for a day, but thank you, Mike. Those who've lived and worked in the UK and made a fantastic contribution there, but have decided to come back home and bring energy and ideas back to Zimbabwe. Those who've studied in UK universities, I should say our universities are among the best in the world, even though if I am not the best role model, having dropped out of university before I finished, but with good reason to come to Zimbabwe. A very special guest, who I think is sitting at the back, is Derek Christmas, who joined the Royal Navy at the age of 16 in 1943 and was serving on board a ship a year later when D-Day happened. A special thanks for this event for the Prince Edward Band, who you heard as you came in the front door, the fantastic pipers and drummer from St John's, Mudzi, the band who will be on in a minute, and all the suppliers, Catherine, the Deputy Head of Mission who's put this on, and Ratty, who's around, who's the residence manager who envisaged this entire concept and did all the work getting this with all her team. So thank you those for everything you've done. I should, when I get the chance to say thank you, there's one person I also have to thank, a very special mention of charity, Mudzi Manyama Wangu Wechishona. Charity, thank you. For the band, Dinovimba Kuti Munogona Kuriza Mumanzi, we ya Bob Marley Gare Gare. I remember dancing to Bob Marley's classic Survival album in the rural bottle stores of Mudzi. At that time, about 30 years ago, when I spent about 5 years in Zimbabwe, mainly in Mudzi and Marewa, I learned so much at that time, and I'm so grateful to this day to the Zimbabweans who took the time back then to challenge some of the things I took for granted about Britain and about Africa. They also taught me essential life skills, like how to play slug, how to drink chabuku. I think there is some chabuku over there. But they also taught me about kindness and respect, and they showed me how to be a diplomat in everyday life. And their lessons were crucial because many years later, 9 months ago, I was successful in being appointed as a British ambassador to Zimbabwe, standing here today. Dakashinga Mushika Shika for the flag car. I've traded a rural teacher's house, or Rime teacher's house in Mudzi for this fantastic residence, and Gachiza's bottle store in Suswe for Wombles. And here's another highlight, because being a diplomat isn't just about speeches and parties, it's about listening and learning. And I try to get out to rural areas in my weekends and as part of my job, mainly to practice my shona, but also to learn about life outside of Harare. Lakafara kudzokera kwa mutoko kunujiga sadzene mabonzo kuno tandara ne vanu vose. Like the chance meeting I had with a young farmer in Motoko interested in selling his vegetables to the UK, or the impromptu tour I was given of Motoko ruins, and if you haven't been there, I wholeheartedly recommend it. But because I'm grateful to for these trips, because they've given me an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the culture that shapes Zimbabweans.
Next up was Deputy Minister Sheila Chitsonga.
The interpretation, it's very rare to find that, because people just think everyone can speak and everyone can hear, but it's good that this, I think we should implement it on all our occasions with our embassies. So no, thank you for leading by example. I think from this, we are going to follow having more and more of this.
She gave such a special shout out to me, the sign language interpreter. That was such a sweet moment, totally made my day.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is one thing to be invited for a garden party. So beautiful, the setup, majestic. But it is another thing to be welcomed by a very special ambassador with a very good sense of humor. I thought at once I met a comedian show, only to realize I still have to keep myself the composure and laugh at least professionally. But if it wasn't for this day, probably I'll be laughing very hard on the floor.
The Deputy Minister was so relaxed and funny before his speech, cracking jokes, praising the ambassador's Shona pronunciations. And during her speech, she talks about some of the exciting business opportunities that can be taken advantage of by Zimbabweans who want to work in the UK with the UK.
I don't know if it's possible to then dive my speech in Shona, because I think he did very well. Well done. I think it's, as you said, it's one thing also to just be an ambassador. It's not about words, but it's also about having sense of humor, just having a life. I was really pleased when they said, Honorable Deputy Minister, you should not be dressing informal, you should dress down a bit. How is my dress? Lovely. Thank you, amazing. Thank you very much. I'm trying to, it's very difficult to speak after a great speaker, but I'm trying to give you at least a little bit of some warm fuzzy to keep enjoying your day. But I would like to thank everyone for coming. This is very beautiful. This is actually my first time being invited for a garden party. And all I can say is this is beautiful. So much effort was put into this. Your Excellency Pitt Vars, Ambassador of the United Kingdom and Great Britain and Northern Ireland to the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Deputy Ministers here present, Honorable Members of the Parliament of Zimbabwe, Your Excellencies, Heads of the Diplomatic Mission, Senior Government officials here present, members of business organizations, members of the press, invited guests, and I would also just want to, this is my first time attending a very special day with also sign language next to me. I think we just need to give a round of applause. Thank you so much for this consideration, Ambassador. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, looking ahead, Zimbabwe desires to have more investment from the UK as well as enhanced trade taking advantage of the potential that exists. We welcome further collaborations in horticulture, organic fruits, medicinal plants, and other sectors.
Now let's talk about the setup. As night fell, the garden transformed into a magical place. The lights that were above here were now looking like a tent. So it was just a tent made of flower, of those lights. It was just stunning. And the food, the food I enjoyed. I just tasted everything, especially the sweet section. I visited that more than once. It was such a beautiful event. You just try.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Just try everything as much as you can. Oh, the strawberries.
It was this one. These two. Ethiopian coffee and the normal. The one that I can't try is this one.
Which one? Oh, okay.
She mixed it. Yes. That's how she wanted.
By the veranda. Oh, okay. So nice. So nice. Now, that's it for the day. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this fun peek into the garden party in Harare. It was such an honor to be the sign language interpreter at this event. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Asambeni.